I grew up taking buses my whole life, whether it was from my house to school or from school to practice. And to this day, I still take buses to games. Well, one day after school, I hopped on a school bus to spend the afternoon with my best friend, Andy. And instead, I received a ride that changed my life forever. Andy's mom forgot he had soccer practice that day, so I was invited to tag along. And before I knew it, I was standing there in my high-top Larry Bird, black and white, white t-shirt, and some way too tight jogging pants. As I watched my best friend practice, as I stood there, this timid 9-year-old, the coach looked over at me and he said, "Do you want to play?" And in my timid voice, I said, "Yes." That day, the coach saw something in me as I chased this ball around like a cat chasing a red dot. He saw more than just this 9-year-old athlete. He saw this kid with this raw, untamed passion and joy that would allow him to teach me the game. I had no technique. I had no clue what I was doing, but I loved to play. So how did I go from that kid in those Larry Bird Converse, who's in that blue shirt right there, on to be a top 10 draft pick, and then on to become this guy? We'll just call him number 25. I'm gonna take you on a bus ride to explain my journey and the lessons that I learned. Imagine boarding a bus and arriving at joy. I love the game so much that anytime my coach demonstrated a skill, a drill, or technique, I would watch every part of his body so I could copy it when I got home. He used to say, "John, listen with your eyes and your ears." I was able to take a snapshot and keep it here. I was able to record his voice and keep it here and replay them both when I got home. To this day, I still can see him and hear him saying, "Backwards, forwards, sideways, in, backwards, forwards, sideways, in, backwards, forwards, sideways, in." It was a time when all my mom wanted me to do was to have fun. She used to drop me off in our big brown station wagon with the wood paneling, you know, the ones with the seats in the back, and she would say, "Have fun." She used to pick me up and say, "Son, did you have fun?" There was no pressure for me to perform, to win, or to specialize in a sport. And I thought by improving my skills that it would bring more joy to other people and myself. However, I was wrong. I got better. I got better because I loved to play. And because I got better, I started to experience the trade-off of my joy for the expectations of coaches, fans, and myself. But why? Picture being on this wonderful bus ride that's going through an area that kind of looks the same, but it doesn't feel quite the same. The way I was starting to view sports was changing. I had to score. I had to win. And somehow I had to become part of that small percentage of high school athletes to play in college and earn a full scholarship. The reality is there's over 7 million high school athletes. Out of those 7 million, only 140,000 of those, 2%, are awarded an athletic scholarship. Meanwhile, parents are sometimes spending over $10,000 a year trying to be a part of that 2%. I'm a soccer player. I'm no financial planner. But if I asked you to give me $10,000 a year of your hard-earned money, and there's a 2% chance I can get you a positive return, would you do it? And let's not forget, it may be more than just a financial loss. It may be the loss of your son or daughter enjoying the game and learning valuable life skills and lessons through sports. To be honest, I'm not so sure in this day and age of college recruiting that I would have survived. Athletes are being pressured to commit to schools even before their 9th grade year, and where coaches and fans are tracking their every move via Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, hoping they can convince or land the next big superstar. Visualize with me now again, sitting on this bus with me, as it's picking up speed going through a landscape you don't even know. Though I beat the odds, I was quickly losing a sense of who I was as an athlete and, most importantly, as a person. I made my way through college as the local boy who'd done good. However, I felt like, you know what, it just wasn't enough. I continued to hear this voice saying, John, you gotta make it. What do you mean I gotta make it? What does making it even mean? Haven't I done enough? Well, you will never guess where I thought I found the meaning of making it. In a restroom in Washington, D.C., our nation's capital. I'm in a new city on a new team. I decided to leave my hotel room, grab some dinner with some friends. As I got up from the table, I walked to the restroom, I get to the urinal, and I look up, and what do I see? My picture, my name, on the Washington Post sports page. It read, United Steps Forward with Wilson on defense. I thought to myself right then and there, this kid from Seneca, South Carolina has finally made it. In 1999, I left school early without a degree to chase the dollar signs, the riches of Major League Soccer, which is more like coins. I was drafted and became part of that small percentage of college athletes to go pro. But along the way, I started to realize that my joy for the game was directly linked to the result of the game. If I wasn't winning, I wasn't happy. How did I forget about that kid in those high-top Larry Bird Converse? Well, in 2007, I had every athlete's nightmare. Knee surgery. And a diagnosis that brought my ride to a halt. Please visualize with me now. You're sitting on this bus with me. It's still picking up speed. But now it's in the middle of nowhere. It's picking up speed. It's picking up speed. The bus driver slams on the brakes. He looks back at you and says, you have to get off the bus now in the middle of nowhere. That was me. Off the bus. Middle of nowhere, bitter, depressed, hurt, no job. I continued to rehab 5 hours, 5 days a week, 2 hours for each session, shedding a lot of sweat, a lot of tears. And I thought to myself, if I had never raised one trophy or won one game, would that have meant everything I'd done before was for nothing? I knew right then and there that I wanted to experience a little bit of that joy that I had. So in 2008, I chose to reclaim my joy of the boy in those Larry Bird Converse with a call to the Charleston Battery. And that call was for a job. It wasn't to play. Maybe I could cut grass, pump balls, maybe even coach. And to my surprise, they asked me to play. And everybody here knows what I said, right? No. I had the opportunity that people would pay for. And I said no. Because over time, I allowed my joy to be taken away from me. But after some reflection and a lot of prayers from my mom, I decided to lace up my cleats again and start that process of reclaiming that joy. And it's been a process. So don't lose your joy. But if you do, remember you can reclaim it. You have a choice to reclaim it with focus and reflection. And with this wisdom of my own story, I share my ripple effect with you. That parents, coaches, athletes should cherish the joy of sport. So if you're an athlete, coach, parent, even a fan, know the odds. Remember why we play for the fun of it. If you play for the joy of sport, successful development as a person and a player are sure to follow. And the best part is your wins. Your wins will simply be the byproduct of your dedication to what matters most. So please, join me and this little guy up here in remembering and focusing on what matters most. The joy of sport. Thank you.